Carlos Nelson with Cascade Sports, and tonight we have Coach Ryan Glasgow on and Coach Mark Sherrill from, where you from, Mark?
Fort Valley State University.
Yeah, running it down. Hey, Mark, normally I do quite a bit of the interview, but I'm gonna let, see, you two are basketball coaches. I'm a track man, really. I'm gonna let Coach Glasgow give you the rundown, but the first thing I want you to do before y'all start interacting, I want you to tell our audience from the first time you fell in love with the sport, and I want you to give your coaches that help you build your skill set to where you're at now, give them their props, even if it go back to kindergarten. Run it down.
Man, it goes way back. I think I fell in love. I grew up with my grandparents over on a street called Maxwell Street, and we had a coal house, and my granddad got an old bicycle rim and put it up for me. And I used to have to shoot, and sometimes the daggone ball would go in there where the dog was, and that dog, and it was a big German Shepherd, try to bite me. So I worked on my speed a little bit, faking him out to get my ball back so I could do this. But where I lived, that was from Durham, North Carolina. And I first fell in love with basketball probably, man, I know my uncles played at Durham High School, and I was the ball boy back then. But back then, what the ball boy did, when the team ran out for warm-ups, I was the first one to run out with them. Now, there was a rule. If I missed that layup doing warm, if I missed that first layup, they weren't going to win that game that night. So that, the pressure was on me. Packed house, Durham High School back in the day. I'm 8, 9 years old, but I got to run out and make that first layup, and then the team will do their thing. So that's kind of where it started. I was fortunate enough to grow up on the campus of Duke University. Where my grandparents lived, I could walk down the street and catch the bus and go over to West Campus. And one time I was, I forgot what age, 10, 8, 9, 10. I was a kid who all the students used to say, boy, that'd be everywhere. He'd be shooting everywhere, but he's just shooting ball everywhere. And one day I ran into a young coach who had just decided to take the job at Duke. He didn't know where he was coming from Army. Duke was a terrible basketball team. Oh my God, they were terrible. And that coach was by the name of Coach Mike Krzyzewski. And during that time, I was always around the players. Even when they didn't want me around, I was pissed. And I would be over in, they had a gym that the students used right next to Cameron. I'll be over there, sneak in there, play with the students, sneak over to Cameron, make the players pick me up. And I was 11, 12. I was balling with the Duke guys back then. So my love kind of started then. Then I had a coach in 7th grade, Coach McKinnon, Ed McKinnon at Carrington Junior High School, that kind of took me underneath his wings and showed me a way. And we used to go up to Carolina. They sit and talk with Dean Smith and people like that. Coach Roy Williams was assistant back then, and I would be back there with the team. And I had no idea that I was gonna play college basketball at that time. I was just a kid that just liked to hoop, as they say. And Jordan was back there, and it was kind of interesting. Then I had a chance to go to high school, which was Durham High. My legendary coach back then, may rest in peace, got killed in a car wreck. Coach Jimmy Graves, and him and his wife Kathy Graves, they kind of took me in. And going forward, I was a highly recruited individual coming out of high school. And I made some good business, but I chose to go D2, which probably was one of the best decisions that I think I made me thank God for giving me the instincts to choose D2 back then, because that was not heard of. And people told me, man, you shouldn't do that. And I did. And at that time, I had developed a good relationship with a legendary coach. He's a Hall of Famer, Coach Steve Joyner from Johnson C. Smith University. And he, at the time, he was recruiting me, but I kind of told him, I said, Coach, really, I ain't really sold on going to an HBCU, but you're a nice man. I'll come visit. And we would talk, and I would go on my other visits, and I would call him and chit-chat with him. And then one day I just decided, look, well, Coach, I tell you what, if I'll come, I need to bring one of my boys with me because I feel comfortable with my boy traveling. So at the time was one of my boys, William Bullock, and he decided to stop selling vacuum cleaners back home. He was home selling vacuum cleaners.
That's how we do it, baby boy.
Back then, he was selling Kirby's. And decided, man, come on to school, man. So he came to school. Then my other homeboy, Ron Boyd, came a year later. Ron became the top assist leader, or one of the top assist leaders at Johnson C. Smith, due to me. So I developed that relationship with Steve Joyner, which helped me bring my boys. Then going forward, I mean, man, I've been touched, man. Coach Big House Gaines, legendary coach at Winston-Salem State. I
knew him well.
Yes. He always told me, Mark, one of the first tests you're going to always have to pass in life is the eye test. That's the first test you're going to have to. So if the one thing he always taught me was prepare myself. Now, y'all know we in with this COVID stuff, so I ain't had a chance to shave, and you got me on this nothing. And but you know how it is. I ain't going ball. I ain't cover stuff all that. I ain't going ball.
I'm with you, Coach Brian.
I'm with you, Coach. We all living the wildebeest life right now.
Yeah. So that's why it looks like this. So if I don't pass the eye test, it's for a good reason.
We all get exceptions to the rule for right now, Coach.
Yes. And but I tell you, man, it's deep because I not with Big House Gaines. I also had Coach John McClendon.
You had the real deal.
Man, when I tell you, Coach Welcome T. Moulton played for Coach John McClendon, and Coach Welcome T. Moulton was assistant coach at Johnson C. Smith with Coach Joyner. So Welcome T. was from Kansas City.
Hey, Coach, let me tell you this. My first year was at Virginia State. I ran track down in Petersburg. And
hey, hold on. Now, did you ever do the real Trojan shake at V-State?
I know what you're talking about. I see you know what's up. Hold it. I got two of my relay members went to North Carolina Central. So I used to travel down there to Durham.
Yeah.
And start dating the girls down in that end of the woods, bro.
Go down to Bull City, baby. That's the Bull City, man. That's the Bull City.
Yeah, so I know what you're talking about. Doc Walker was the track coach down there.
Yes, sir. Leroy Walker.
Hey, Olympic coach.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. We on the same page.
So when I tell you, I have been so close to John Naismith, the inventor of basketball. That's why basketball was meant to be in my blood. I've been that close from Coach Moulton. And basketball, if I just had to say all the individuals that I've been so close to so many pioneers of basketball that I give praise to God, man. I mean, honestly, in college, I never thought about being a basketball coach. I didn't. I was majoring in criminal justice. I was studying when I was playing overseas. I was studying to go with the Secret Service. I know I wanted to do something dealing with people. And, man, one day, man, I just, it was like, I said, God, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do next? And the day he told me that, I was getting ready to head to Sweden. I was headed to Sweden the next day. My flight, I remember, was leaving like noon or that morning or something. And my college coach called me, and he said, Mark, I need your help. I said, what's up, coach? He said, man, I need you to come back and coach with me. I said, you need me to come back and coach with you? I said, well, I'll do the league, coach, but if you need me, I'm coming. And I called my agent. I'm tell you a funny story. I called my agent. I told my agent, I said, well, look, my college coach called me. He wanted me to come back and coach. He said, well, Mark, you got a 6-figure deal overseas. You going to turn? And he said, what you making? I said, I don't know. I have no idea.
That's 6 figures, baby.
I don't know. So I decided to go back, and I'm going to tell you the funny story, and I hope I don't get nobody in trouble with this, but it's been years ago. So my first check I got from Smith, it was an error. It was an error. I got that first check. I looked at it. I ain't gonna say what it was for. I said, good God Almighty. I said, I made a good decision. This kind of when I'm making coaching. I made a good decision. So I was like, man, boy, this is good. I said, man, I would have been making something like this, or close to this overseas. This good right here. I said, I'm good. Month go by, that next check come the next month. I look at it, about passed out. So I go to Human Resources. I said, look, I told my coach, I think they made a mistake in my check. He said, what you mean? I said, it ain't the same as last month. He said, what do you mean? He said, go to Human Resources. So I go to Human Resources. I said, look, my check ain't the same. And they said, what do you mean, Martin? This is equal up to what you make. This is for $24,000. I said, $24,000? This equal up to $1,000 something a month. I said, huh? I said, so this right? They said, yeah. They said, well, why did you come in here? Your check on this last month? No. No. So I'm like, what? So they said, we had a problem with our machine and some stuff went wrong. Did you get more than what you were supposed to get? I said, evidently I did. And I said, but am I supposed to give it back? They were like, well, we'll make the difference up somehow or another, and we'll figure it out for you, but we can't force you to get this back right now. I said, woo. Man, I'm walking back down the hill to my boss office like, man, did I make the right decision? I can't survive on this kind of money. And but I give credit to God. He is possible and open doors for me. And it's such a blessing just to what I give. It's kind of like a parent. You got some players who, you want to just, oh God, like a bad child. You want to bring them in the room and just whoop them sometimes. And then you got some that just make you so happy. And but the biggest thing about this coaching thing is really just making a difference in young men, and not just young men, but students across the campus. I think what coaching has provided me is, to be able to input not just my male basketball players, but also students across campus, male and female. Just talking with them, getting them my wisdom, because I always tell them, you guys are not doing anything that I haven't done.
But that's what I want you and Coach to chop it up about, because Coach Glasgow, that's how he handles himself with the high school ballers that he's dealing with. Hey, Coach, why don't you chop it up with Coach here?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Coach, I can sit and listen. I'm a basketball guy, so I can sit and listen to stories about basketball all day. I try to be a sponge for that. Unlike, I think, our generation these days, they don't like to sit back and, listen to how people paved the way to get even to where their basketball exposure is so big these days. I think a lot of that goes by the wayside. So I could sit and listen to people talk about their story and how they got to the point they are, because I feel like that's how you kind of, relate to setting your own path towards, wherever I end up with this coaching thing.
Hey, Coach, with that being said, I'm going to tell you one quick funny story. Listening and being able to sit down and listen to stories at a young age. But when I was younger, I had a good friend of mine named Columbus Coward. His dad was Mr. Leroy. Every Friday, Mr. Leroy would get off work, 5, 6 o'clock, get home. He would bring a case of beer and bring me a case of 6-pack sodas. And we would sit at the table, listen to old music, and eat hot pickles. And every Saturday morning, I'll wake up and I'll be crying to my mom. You been over there with Mr. Leroy eating them hot pickles again, so you may as well go ahead and deal with the pain to come and eat them hot pickles. But the ability to sit back and listen to wisdom started at a young age. But I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I agree with you 100%. So tell us about, tell me about Fort Valley State, Coach, University. I mean, I'm at Lincoln here in Kansas City. It was a historical Black educational institution, started, just as a vocational school, and has built itself to be one of the top schools in the nation academically, still predominantly a Black, black attendance, and right here in the heart of Kansas City. So, I'm also the athletic director. So what I'm trying to do is connect with more HBCUs at all levels, because we have kids here that I feel in the Kansas City area are under recruited, and not maybe necessarily because they're not good enough or talented enough. It's just that there's really no pipelines through to where we are to coaches like yourselves and programs like yourself. So tell me a little bit about Fort Valley State University, and how long you've been there, what your philosophy is for that, and your goal ultimately with your school there.
Well, Fort Valley State University is a land grant university, HBCU, located in a town called Fort Valley, Georgia. Very nice small town. You ride through the town. It ain't nothing that wild. It's not anything that wows you, but it's just some great people. And when you start going to Fort Valley, coming down the road, you'll see these paw prints because we're the Wildcats. Fort Valley State University, Wildcats. And you start going down there, and as soon as you get close to campus, man, the campus sits on acres and acres of land. And it's one of the most beautiful college campus you will ever get a chance to see. We have brand new facilities, brand new dormitories. I mean, we got an arena I would recommend anybody to go online and look at our arena. We even got a track on the inside of the arena. We have state-of-the-art training. I give credit to Dr. Paul Jones, who's the president of the university, and also my boss, Anthony Holloman. This is my second year there. And if I can tell you about my history of how long I've been in coaching, I've been coaching there. I'm one of the old, I don't know what the word to use, matriarch or whatever, but I was assistant
old dog.
Old dog, yeah. But I was assistant coach for over 20-something plus years at Johnson C. Smith. And actually, I was the associate head coach with the gentleman, Coach Steve Joyner, who coached me in college. Okay. So to show you the power of something, I was thinking Coach gonna do another year or two, and Coach Joyner had just got his hip redone because he had bad hips. He had just got his hips done, and I think once he got his hips done, Coach feel like he could do about 5 to 10 more years. So I was like, said, Coach, I done been here 20 plus years. I was hoping to take over one day, and so I came home one night, and I prayed about it, and I asked God, said, God, I've been loyal, I've been committed. And I've been true to Johnson C. Smith University, and I've been true to Coach Steve Joyner. But if you would, Lord, I'm ready to have my own ideas, develop my own coaching philosophies. And I wrote all this down, and I put it on my wall behind my bed. I would read it every night before I went to bed. Man, I lie to you not. One day, about 3 or 4 days later, I was working on scheduling and doing our schedule for that following year, and I saw a call for Fort Valley. I said, man, I ain't going on Fort Valley to play nobody. That's a long ride for me. So I was like, yeah. And within 3 or 4 days, God had answered my prayer just out the blue. Fort Valley called me and asked me would I like to come down and see what they got, what they working with. Scared me. I was like, Lord, you work fast. You work fast, buddy. And man, I went down and it was just a beautiful situation. And I always, I would tell people when I was at Johnson C. Smith, we got a legendary gym called Brave Boy Gymnasium. And it's an old gym, but it's one of the wildest gyms in the country to play in. And my office was always in the basement. So I was in the basement for 20-something years. Actually, I had a friend of mine to come in and do put some curtains up against a wall and put a picture up so it looked like I was looking outside sometimes because I was in the basement. Well, when I arrived to Fort Valley, they gave me my first office, and my office had a window. So I was truly impressed that, man, after 20 years, I finally have a window. But man, not only did I have a window, when you looked out my window, it was green grass and a lake out there. So I said, Lord, the only thing that wasn't out there was sheep. I had some sheep. I'm in paradise right now. Right. And but Fort Valley's great, man. I mean, a great academic institution, great alumni. what I'm working on, my first year I took the job late, so I didn't really get a chance to really do a lot of recruiting. Going into year 2, I brought in a couple. So my year 1, we won 7 games in year 1. Okay. My coach philosophy was developing winning ways. That's what I'm working on, developing winning ways, trying to change the culture of the program, trying to bring in quality students. So that first year, man, I was getting beat by 17, 18 every night. I'm sitting there like, Lord, what did I sign up for? And going into year 2, the craziest thing again, I won 7 games. But we led every game. We lost most games in the last 5 minutes. And if you look at my schedule from last year to this year, most of my games this year I lost by 3 points. So if you ask me, did I improve? Yes. We went from getting beat by 17-20 to only losing games by 3 and 4 points. But I'm excited going into year 3 because I'm thinking that I'm bringing in some quality talent. Man, we have D1 facilities. I tell you like this, anyone who I have gotten on campus, it's been done. They said, Coach, we'll come here. That's how beautiful it is. Once anybody from Kansas City come to Fort Valley, Georgia, I guarantee you they'll say, no brainer, I'll come. It has everything that I need. Great president, great athletic director, and Anthony Holloman. Oh my God! I mean, it's beautiful. So I'm in a great, situation. I want y'all to be prepared because you're gonna see me in a national picture the next year or so.
Okay, and it's a Division two program, correct?
It's a Division II program. We're in a conference called the SIAC.
Okay,
and that's the same conference. We got Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, Savannah State. I mean, several top basketball schools, and it's a great basketball conference.
Great, that's great. So, what do you think about with the virus and everything that's going on? How are you adjusting to your recruiting and doing things differently now? Things, we have the social media age, which is different, of course. Even, you have the huddle videos, you have all these tools. What are you guys for Fort Valley? What are you guys utilizing with the inability to really make any moves, have people come to campus right now? What are you guys doing differently as far as recruiting is concerned?
Well, just like we doing now. I done met parents and talked to recruits on Zoom, FaceTime. I'm sitting here at my kitchen table now and working on scheduling and and you know what's funny? I'm probably spending more hours working in terms of paperwork, scheduling, things like that, because during the course of the year, we're not in the office as much because I don't have the luxury of having a full coaching staff. So therefore, I have to do my player development and things like that myself. But right now, man, I'm working on scheduling. Most mornings I'm up by 6:30 because from 6:30 to about 10, I'm watching videos of kids. So not being able, because of what's going on with COVID, I'm just not able to get out and see them. But I spend countless hours watching videos. Then most nights I may start back watching videos at 8 and not finish till 1 o'clock in the morning. Then I go to bed, wake up at 6:30. By 8, 7, I'm back on again. And it's different. It's different. But then you talking to recruits more because you don't have a choice.
Yeah, now you have to build a relationship.
You got to build that daggone relationship. And I mean, I read something today on one of the social media sites, and they were saying that, of course, we all know about the NCAA portal. A lot of these kids now,
it's unbelievable what
like,
the numbers of that portal are, Coach.
It seems like the new trend is to get into the portal. That's what these kids believe.
That's exactly it.
And what's sad is a lot of these kids, parents better teach your kids. It's going to be tough situations sometimes.
For sure.
You better tough it out and deal with where you are. Now,
instead of starting all over again.
Yeah. First of all, like I heard an old school coach say one time, saying, man, back in the 60s, 80s, in the 70s, he told his mom and dad he wanted to train, he didn't want to be at the school he was at no more. So why? So the dad asked him, well, son, did the coach hit you? No, sir. Son, is your life in danger? No, sir. Son, are they feeding you? Yes, sir. Son, is your bill being paid? Yes, sir. Well, why in the hell are you trying to leave there right now? What I mean,
Right.
You better stay there. And the gentleman is now a doctor. He said probably the best advice his dad gave him. It was some tough times. He didn't like how the coach was pushing him. He didn't like sometimes he won't get the playing time that he thought he deserved. And
Right.
the dad say, man, you got to get an education.
Right.
Stay
So what do you think about this, Coach? As generations go past, like you said, you're a veteran in this. You've been in coaching. You've been around some Hall of Famers. You've been around, the upbringing of Duke and all that. You got to see that transform right in front of you.
Carolina, Duke and Carolina. So I had both blues.
So you have blue bloods. The 8 miles or however many it is apart from each. So history. Of course, Michael Jordan going to North Carolina and all the buzz around that and all the great players that have played at Duke. What do you think about the generation now as far as, what may be different from now versus 10, 15 years ago from players that you saw or that you recruited even then or played against? What do you think the mentality is these days, and what's the difference in what's going on?
I think it's the pressure. I think the pressure of when they started playing basketball at 10 years old. Come play for my AAU program. Come play for this program. Come play for this. Man, we got this here. We got shoes, man. We're going to give you this, man. Oh, boy, you ain't got to pay for nothing, man. You come with us. You know, so it starts at a young age for them. Okay, well, I didn't like playing for him at AAU. I'm going to go over here. And that trickles down to college and sometimes high school. And you get kids, what I try not to do is I try to recruit kids who done been to 2, 3 different high schools.
Right.
Because they haven't learned the lesson. And they'll get them in when things ain't right, they're going to leave.
Yep.
But these kids today have been taught to just, if you ain't happy, just leave.
Right, and give up on it.
Give up and go start again somewhere else.
Right.
And then we also have a generation who don't understand what this is all about. Yeah, we talking about the NCAA makes millions and billions of dollars through this and this and this and this. But honestly, man, there's levels to this game. And we all know that.
Right.
There's levels to this game. And when individuals don't understand, whether you are at a D1, D2, D3, NAIA, or JUCO, no matter what level you're on, you have an obligation to come there and be ready day in, day out. If you can't handle coming to practice for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and working your butt off and being consistent and not coming to practice acting like you got an attitude, because, again, that ain't the real world. Like I tell my players all the time, fellas, you ask to come to work for 2 hours sometimes. Your mom and dad working 12-hour shifts.
Right. Some longer than that.
So that you can have better. Now, you got to come in here. And I've seen kids come, well, I didn't feel like practicing today because I was mad about something. I was this about something. Well, when you accept the college, when you accept the opportunity to come and represent our university, you have an obligation to give your best day in, day out. Day in, day out. I tell my players all the time, I always had this thing. My theme song was Eric B. and Rakim. I like to move the crowd. Before every game, I don't care if we played in front of 10,000 or 50 people. It was 50 people that came to see me play. Let me give them what they came to see.
Right.
And by playing hard and by playing consistent. And, I mean, I just think this day and time, young men and women have been led the wrong way. You go somewhere, you work your butt off day in and day out. That's what you do.
That's what you do. So do you guys have an opportunity to play any of the MAIA schools? Do they ever schedule you guys? Like, I know, we're in Kansas City, so we got Central Missouri close to us. We got Northwest Missouri State, who's won the last couple D2 national championships, Missouri Southern, and, schools like that. We have several Division II, NCAA Division II schools in our metro area or close to our where Kansas City is. Do you guys ever get a chance to match up with those guys outside of maybe tournament play or?
Well, when I'm at Fort Valley State, but when I was at Johnson C. Smith one year, I did, because we made it all the way to the Elite Eight.
Okay.
Well, my goal is I'm not saying I plan to, I'm going to put Fort Valley on the map in terms of national attention. I'm going to recruit the kind of kids that pro scouts would love to come see. I'm going to recruit the kind of kids that would go on to grad school and get their masters and doctorates and, become productive citizens. But in terms of basketball-wise, you will see me in a year or two out there in Kansas City doing something, in the national picture.
Hey, Coach,
yes.
Let me interrupt you for a minute. I have the City of Fountain Coaches Association. It's a primarily Black Coaches Association. And right now we're working on an HBCU Classic where we're looking to bring some of the HBCUs out here once a year and possibly get you a big payday to play UMKC or possibly St. Louis University.
Right.
We have Langston and we have Lincoln out of Jeff City. And hey, Coach Glasgow, yes, like 3 years ago, we had the HBCU Classic for 2 years in a row, basically, where Langston played Lincoln, and the high school game was the opening game for them to play. And right now, we're looking at putting something like that together. The whole emphasis on Cascade Sports now focusing on all the HBCUs. We plan to have all the HBCUs on our network so that we can look forward to having good relationships and being able to come together to put some things on to show our kids out here what HBCU is about. And I think in your earlier conversation, talking about how wonderful it is to be down there in Georgia and the atmosphere and the whole deal. And I don't think your HBCU is any different from really any of them, because they have a mothering and you don't have to try to fit in. You have other kids that come from the same background as you, and
right.
All your kids, not just the basketball players. Everybody knows you, Coach, on campus, and the kids on campus by name for the most part.
Right.
So Coach Glasgow is working with us. That's why I invited him to be one of the major hosts as we interview the HBCU coaches, because he's got his finger on the pulse of high school basketball here in Kansas City that can be a great asset to you HBCUs as well as to his student athletes.
Well, I'm going to retract something you said earlier, and I'm just going to tell you the truth. There's no greater basketball atmosphere, no better atmosphere than Fort Valley State.
Boy, you selling that hard, baby boy.
Hey, I'm about to send him my son's. I'm about to send him my son's film right now. He got me ready to get on the plane and get down here and check this place out, man. I got a 2020 senior right now, man. That's under recruited, man. He'll make you famous, Coach.
Hey, look, I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I first got there. First of all, when I first got there, I went to football homecoming. I ain't never seen so many trailer homes, the little mobile thing.
Oh, the mobile homes?
The little mobile homes that they drive up in. Man, we got a field packed with hundreds. I said, what in the world is going on here? And I didn't know. Then what really shocked me is we have a football homecoming. Then we have what's called a basketball homecoming. Unbelievable. Then we have the cheerleaders, the dance girls, the DJ rocking, the band rocking. It ain't no better atmosphere than in the Valley, baby.
That's why they gave you that big. Hey, that's why they give you that big check. You.
Yeah, he's a salesman too. Yeah, he doing it all, man. He the promoter. I like it, Coach. Let me ask you, Coach. Since I coach high school basketball here, I started with Lincoln last year. This is my first year as a head coach there. We won our district championship. You know, my whole mission was to change the culture not only as a basketball coach, but being the AD, was to change the culture and make it sports. It's a high academic institution. So everybody linking academically first, which I feel like is great. But when you combine those two things together with high academics and high sports ability, those two things can do a lot for a lot of kids and get them to where we all know how much college costs these days.
Yeah.
Most families, whether you live in the suburbs or whether you live in the city, you don't have enough money to put $100,000 back for your kid to go to school. So we use it as a tool, sports tool, to get, some of that income supplemented for and get you, education for free, or at least for as least amount as possible. So what do you feel like right now with the Midwest area? Do you recruit the Midwest area very well, or are you mostly, southern states? What are you looking to do to translate into, where you want to be, where you're competing in the elite?
Well, I don't like to necessarily say that. I like to recruit all over. When I was at Johnson C. Smith, I had a broad range. I had kids from San Antonio, California, and I'm trying to do the same at Fort Valley. But there's a lot of great talent, as well in Georgia. And sometimes Georgia has, if a kid got a 3.0, they have what's called the Hope Scholarship, that you could get a kid, they'll get the Hope, give them $8,000 or something like that. So that helps you in terms of financial wise. But in terms of Fort Valley, we have our agriculture department, and if you guys could pass this along to all the individuals in your area, look up Fort Valley's agriculture department. It's about 9 different majors that they can major in, and if any kid has a 3.0 or better, they will receive almost a full scholarship to Fort Valley State University. Go to our agriculture department, Fort Valley Agriculture Department, and look up all the different majors. They got majors in computer engineering, you name it. It's about 9 different majors that a kid can major in to receive financial help. And the thing about Fort Valley, a lot of universities nowadays are out here running $30,000, $40,000 a year. Man, we like Walmart, man. Come on. A kid could get a quality education and get everything they need in a one-stop shop at Fort Valley, and probably would spend less than $20,000 a year.
That's great to know. I know we have a lot of student athletes here with this 2020 situation that don't get to finish their spring sports. So I'm gonna be working my tail off this next year, trying to supplement and try to help a lot of these kids get opportunities probably they missed out on. With the lack of the AAU and all of the things that go into getting recruited these days, when you take those things away, it kind of filters it back on the high school basketball coaches, which originally was how you got where you needed before the AAU came around. I think a lot of AAU has taken that element out, which has hurt a lot of high school basketball in a lot of different states, because kids know, the college coaches will be at my AAU team. Yeah. The high school coaches now might be just a science teacher that's doing the job just because they need somebody in the building, and they know AAU is where a lot of the kids get recruited from. For advice from a college coach to a high school coach, and maybe aspiring to be at the college level one day, what's the biggest connector or gap to bridge between the two when you going from a high school level with the kids? What would you like for them to have automatically when they get to your level, as far as walking out of their high school?
Just a sense of work ethic, a sense of a basketball IQ. I mean, that's the new thing that's going around nowadays. Basketball IQ, knowing when to get a ball up, knowing how to pass and cut, just understanding the game. And man, what a lot of people are not paying attention to, not just with what's going on in the world right now, but in the world of sports, especially basketball, this recruiting game is going to get even deeper. It's going to get deep. Kids ain't even realizing that. I mean, it's kind of like the quiet storm. Right. It's quiet, right? But you don't see it coming because what's going on right now. The NCAA portal has hundreds of kids trying to transfer right now in the NCAA portal. That's one. Okay, that's one entity, the NCAA portal. You haven't even got to talking about the kids in JUCO.
Right.
You haven't even gotten talking about the kids at the prep schools.
Right.
You haven't even brought up all these kids in high schools trying to find somewhere to go. So this recruiting thing is finna, I mean, it's finna be a lot of individuals out there who gonna sit a year or so trying to find something. Who gonna have to get jobs and work before they could go to college and play basketball. But in my mindset, those ones who have to do that would probably be better because they have a better mindset of, I'm coming in working my butt off because I ain't ready to get there and work and get that $9, $8, $8.25 an hour, $9, $10, man. I don't want that no more. I want to play ball. Right. And education is something you know that's valuable that you can always get. You know, and what I always try to tell kids is, be yourself. Try to make a difference. In someone's life. But this recruiting game is going to change.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you two questions.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on what Coach Glasgow said. He talked about the kids moving the next level. What's the most important thing do you think for a high school coach to transfer to become a college coach? What should they be doing to make that next level?
I think a high school coach just trying to make the transfer. One, he has to get out during the summer and work these camps, get to know these coaches, and just be themselves. You know, I've seen over my time coaches who try, don't sell yourself to the devil. I hate to say it like that. Don't sell yourself, be yourself. That's my main thing. Be yourself, get out, work camps, know the kids in your area, know the top kids in your area, host events where kids could come in and invite college coaches to your campus. If their coach is not doing it, invite them to your campus. Get to know these coaches. The big thing nowadays is, which is what's missing out here in this world, is called trust and loyalty.
Oh, Lordy, Miss Claudia.
It's called trust and loyalty. And being a head coach, my biggest thing is, yes, I got to have a system that can recruit. That's one. But I got to have a system. Because not only that, I don't want my system being like me, per se. I'm not looking for because I'm late in the game, man. I want my assistant to learn this game so that he could go get his head coach job, so that he could bring somebody who's somebody in. I could bring somebody else in, and we can start building. Because that's what a lot of look at the great coaches. They started and putting their players out there and got them each got a player coaching over here in this conference, got a player over here in this conference, player here in this conference. But us as African Americans, how many coaches can say that? I got a guy over here, I got two guys over here, and we building and we building and we building and we placing like a great high school coach, like coach, that's on there. He out of Kansas City. He young, he got that drive, and he knows the game. He's won championships, but unfortunately, a high school coach going in, very rare coach is going to really care about you winning championships in high school. What they don't care about is, can you recruit? Right. Depending on what level they bringing you in on, whether you're going to be the first, second, third, or fourth. But the main thing is, can you recruit?
Let me say this. That is one of the major things that the City of Fountain Coaches Association, I told you, is basically a Black Coaches Association. Now, after that question, this is like 10 years ago. The game has changed so much. They had the big tournaments out here where they had the president of Adidas and all the big shoe companies. And the president of Adidas felt the same way I felt, or I felt the same way he did, that more European players are coming into the NBA, and AAU, all of that traveling, it's not like it was when I was coming up, possibly when you were coming up. The European model is more, I'm going to be in the gym all summer and I'm going to be practicing putting up 3,000-4,000 shots. I'm going to be practicing on my skill set instead of running up and down the road. What do you have to say to that?
I think, and I hate to say this, I got some friends who are AAU coaches.
It's hard to even, you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
I haven't seen. To me, I don't see too many kids. It's just, it's what they say. The Adidas showcase, the Nike showcase,
Right.
this showcase, all these certain showcase. It's just a showcase. These kids are not getting skilled. That's why the transfer portal is so large right now. Because by the time when you're on a high level and you coaching in one of the top D1 schools or D2 schools in the country, well, mainly D1, because that's what big money's been spent at. Them guys they don't have time to develop you.
No.
They don't have, they don't have the luxury. They may have a 3 to 5 year deal worth $15 million, but they ain't winning. Them boosters saying we paying him too much money.
They buy you out and send you out.
He don't have the talent that he needs, and that's why I hate guys. These coaches make that money, but people don't know the pressure that come with it. Now don't get me wrong. I love the pressure of $15 million for a year, $10 million. Yeah, give me that pressure, because I got pressure too, and I ain't close to that. But I think that this day and time, one of the key things that's missing. How did I become good? Because during the summer, I was on the outside court when nobody else was there, shooting by myself. Kind of like that song say, when it's a rap song out said, hey, she won't have, but she won't in the gym when you was in there at 6 in the morning working out by yourself. So AAU don't get the kids the luxury to go play. How do you develop basketball instincts? Playing pickup ball, playing in the park. Magic learned all that playing in the park. I would go watch him or go watch Mike. Or I was growing up on Saturdays, we would go to a place called this rec center, and Michael Jordan would be in there. We had a dude, man. I'm telling you, Jordan was good, but we had a dude named last name was Davis. He had a beard. Like, man, I saw him take off from the top of the key and soar and dunk. You say Mike took off from the free throw. This dude here would take off from the free throw line on concrete courts. So I've seen some great talent. Just then, me and my boys, once the big boys got done playing, we'll go play. And but it's called development. And what's sad about it now, and I'm gonna touch on something else. What's destroying these kids right now? Hey, we have PlayStation basketball players. They sit in the house to play PlayStation all day long. They ain't in their driveway. They ain't doing this and doing that. Now, and don't get me wrong, fellas. Times have changed to some degree, and a lot of parents not comfortable with their kids going to the park because you got a lot of chumps nowadays that think that shooting a gun and shooting somebody that makes you tough. I mean, when I was growing up in Durham, we may go to Walltown. We may go to Matt Dougal Terrace where Rodney Rogers, who played at Wake Forest, played at NBA. We may go over there and beat them. Okay, so the game is 14-14, right? Game 14-14. Oh, man. So you and your boy, time out. Yo, okay, look. Sure. Hey, yo, guys, I'm going to be in the deep corner. I'm going to come off this pick. I'm going to shoot this shot. When that ball goes, because we didn't have nets, you had chains. You remember you go, chain. Yeah. When that ball go through them chains, yeah, I'm breaking that way. You better break that way because we're going to have to fight to get out of here. They're going to fight. So
it meant something to lose, though. It meant something.
And you were in their territory. So
because nowadays, coach, a kid can go and lose a game at 11 and have another one at 12:15.
At 12:50.
Or 12:30, 1 o'clock, and it don't mean nothing for them to lose because they go right back to playing again.
But the thing about it is, people say, boy, I would keep my follow-through up when I was a player. People said, man, you had the prettiest jump shot because as I kept my follow-through because that ball been in the air so high, while everybody was looking at it, we were gone. Because we know it was going to be money. Because why was it going to be money? I've been shooting it over and over and over every day. So I know when that ball left my hand, I knew the feel of it. But at the same time, we might get a little fight, but we didn't have to worry about nobody shooting nobody. Right. You live to come back another day because them boys were going to come to your hood.
Right. And I think to piggyback on that, Coach, and I'll let you touch on this. I think a lot of it is the influence of our the AAU programs and the coaches that are all in it for the wrong reasons. You can something I always tell as an AD, I had a mentor tell me, when you go to hire somebody, if they have a social media platform, if they have a platform that is about coaching, see how much they actually talk about themselves versus how much they actually talk about the kids that they coach.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell. In a lot of ways, if you want your son or you want your player to go play for that coach, is if all their conversations about me instead of being about the kids, then you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. I think
Yes.
AAU coaches these days, and I coach in the summer. I try to stay involved. I use that platform, so that I can connect with the college coaches directly, even about my own high school program or just the kids in the area. That's the only time you really get a chance to talk to them because our seasons are in at the same time. So during the spring and summer, you get to actually, I can go up to you and we can have a basketball conversation that you normally wouldn't be able to have. But I think a lot of AAU coaches, now it's all about the recognition they get because they immediately take credit for a kid getting a scholarship. Not that this kid's been working off their entire life, their family's been sacrificing their entire life, paying for this, paying for that, traveling here.
And don't forget the biddy coaches that got them where they at.
Exactly. Yeah. But as soon as a kid gets a scholarship, say he gets a scholarship offer from you out there, the first thing you see is that coach come on there and say, my guy.
My guy. That's the terminology, my guy.
Right? Yeah, my guy, I got him this, I got him, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of it just funnels back to people just being in it for fundamentally all the wrong reasons. Whereas before, you just wanted to, if you knew somebody could hoop, you wanted to help them get to where they need to be, whether it be a small part of it or not. We got guys that'll have a guy for spring and summer as a reclassified kid that's already supposed to be in college for a year already. He playing with
2 years ago.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But then he's the man. He's getting the scholarships, and then the coach wants to take all the credit, and then it becomes this whole ego thing that's really kind of torn basketball down a lot. And I think with what's happening, it's kind of the pendulum's kind of swinging back to where high school coaches at college coaches need. That 4 years of development is really how that kid got to that level.
Right.
7 months that they played in that AAU program, other than the exposure and recognition of what AAU brings. Like you said, the development part is really what deserves the most credit. Because I have a son that's that age, and all we ever worked on was just him being an all-around basketball player. Now if you can't shoot threes from the logo, if you're a smaller guard, a lot of coaches what's his 3-point percentage? As if you can't do anything else. Threes. Yeah. Right.
Well,
so what are your thoughts on that, Coach?
I'm gonna tell you one deeper than that. Like I told you, man, God has blessed me. And I would just say it. I've been around some of the great players. Stephen Curry grew up in my gym at Johnson C. Smith. Dale, all them. With White Sonya, all them. But with people, I remember Dale would never let Steph shoot a 3-point shot until he got stronger and until his technique got better. I watch these kids now, they out there just tossing balls any kind of way they can, trying to get the ball to, through the rim. But Steph as him and his brother are as good as they are now because their dad made them work on their fundamentals first. You're not going to be out here shooting these threes deep. Learn to shoot short-range shots. And what kids don't pay attention to, if you watch Steph first, or even his brother, or even some of the best shooters, in the country, we don't walk in the gym and start jacking threes.
Right.
You walk in and get 200 mid-range shots in to get a rhythm. Then he may branch out. But I just think that, kids have just got to learn how to develop, how to get stronger. Coach, I kind of lost the topic that you were talking about, and I'm hoping I'm staying with you. Could you?
Yeah, just basically, for kids that are, that don't have, like you mentioned earlier, passing the eye test. Right now, the eye test is 6'5" or 6'4", 6'3" or taller. Steph kind of helped us out with the athleticism thing, even though he's decently athletic for his size or whatever. But now a kid, he can have a 40-inch vertical and not really be able to play at all Coach.
Not better play at all. Not better play.
But that kid is getting the scholarship offer because of his athleticism versus whether he can play or not. So what is your message to the kids that, you know, that they got game, but they don't pass that eye test right away now that, you know, with the viral videos, now if you're not dunking over, you know what I mean, over 2 or 3 people and all of that's become more important than the substance of your game in a lot of ways. What do you tell the kids of this generation that about how to funnel through that?
And winding up, Coach, on what Coach Glasgow said, answer that and any parting words of wisdom that you would have for our audience.
Okay. Well, Coach, to start with you, I have a son. My son, Stephen Sherrill. He's a freshman at Johnson C. Smith this year. Didn't play a whole lot of play. He didn't get a lot of playing time. But he trains every day. He calls me at 6 in the morning. Dad, I'm in the gym. Or Dad, I ran on the track, did the hill today, this and that, this and that. And I tell him, got the prettiest shot, has a pretty jump shot. But I said, Stephen, I've been trying to let you figure this thing out. But let me help you out. You could work out all day long. You could get in the gym and shoot all day long. But if you don't develop that killer mentality and have that level of confidence in yourself, that you the best thing on the court, and you don't work hard each and every day, and you consistently training, not always going to the wire just to play with the boys. Sometimes you got to be by yourself. You got to develop that love of the basketball by yourself. But you got to have that killer mentality. And most kids just play basketball, they're athletic, they got this, they got that. But what they don't have is that dog mentality, as we would say. You gotta have a certain mentality. Now, to breach on what I'm going to say next to kind of bring things to a close, and I'll say this, parents, coaches, high school, junior college, AAU, stop worrying about a kid, whether he D1. He D1. Just let him be a basketball player. And sometimes D1 ain't the right fit for that kid. So you'd rather kid be sitting at a D1, sitting on a bench, where he could be at a strong Division II, D3, being an All-American, Hall of Famer, school's all-time leading scorer, and have a successful basketball career. Some of my best friends played at Duke, Carolina, Kentucky. I know guys that played all them places. Did a few of them make it to the NBA? Because what you're not looking at, you're looking at the guys who make it to the league from Carolina, Kentucky, and schools like that. But what about them other 12 guys who didn't make it?
Right.
who ain't get that playing time? And them same guys, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I could have went major D1, but I chose what the NCAA just came up with, D2, make it for you. And I was All-American. I was my school's all-time leading scorer. I was the first athlete ever in my school's history in any sport to get his jersey retired. I just went into my conference, the CIAA Hall of Fame. Then all my boys that played D1, they come back and say, man, if I had to do it all over again, Sherrill, I would have did, I would have took the same route that you took. Because, man, and hold on. I had people telling me, man, if you go to that D2 school, that black school, you ain't going to never play on TV. You ain't going to never do this and do that. Man, let me tell you something. I went in Johnson C. Smith gym the first time, man. I had to sweep the floor. I had to clean it up. I had to do this, me and my coach. So we had to take what we had and build it. But not only that, man, do you know that BET, BET was big for us back then.
Right.
They came in that little gym, put the cameras up, and we played a national TV game in Brayboy. I was on TV. Now, to make things crazier, what else made me decide to go to HBCU? One day, we had finished playing at Granville Towers on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. Michael Jordan was out. He was out in front of the dorm. Hey, Mike, how you doing, boy? What's going on, sir? And I said, Mike, man, I got this HBCU school that I'm really, considering going to, but I ain't sure, man. And Mike said, Mark, I'm going to be honest with you. And he was in college then. It don't matter where you go. Make a name for yourself wherever you go. Change it. And Michael Jordan was one of the main people that really influenced me to attend HBCU because he said, man, make a name for yourself wherever you go. And I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm not about self. I'm about building others, uplifting others. But one thing I can say is from Florida to all the way to DC. If you talk about basketball, black college basketball, most people gonna know, oh, that boy Mark Sherrill was all right, bro. Boy, I enjoyed watching it. I received something from Facebook one day, and some people were talking. Boy, it was a pleasure watching Sherrill play basketball. But I didn't have to go to Duke. I didn't have to go to Carolina. Right. And the thing I would say is, parents, look for the best situation for your child. Don't let your child be soaked in by social media. These kids be emailing me now, Coach. Are you making me a commitment? Are you making me a commit? No, I ain't made no commitment to you yet, son. I don't need you on Facebook talking about I want to thank my peoples because I just got a offer from such and such and such and such. Right. I don't even know you like that yet. I want to know your character, because before you step on the campus of Fort Valley State University, I got to make sure your character's intact. I don't want my boss and my president looking at me saying, sure, you brought him here.
Right.
You brought him here. And now, is that going to always be 100? No, it never is. But sometimes find the best situations for your child. No, first of all, what they don't look at is most kids pick schools for all the wrong reasons. I knew me. Man, I like to shoot. My nickname was Shotgun Sherrill. So do you think I was going to go to a school? Now, North Carolina Central University recruited me when he found out, Mike Bernard, when he found out that I may want to consider going to a HBCU. He came on late. But, Mike only liked to score 50 points a ball game. 50. Now, they won. Don't get me wrong. He was a great coach. But for me, I'm going to score 50 myself. I'm going to score 40 myself. So I knew that Central wasn't the right place for me. And a lot of kids are choosing schools, not looking at the school style, not checking out the school style of play. What they don't look at is how many years that coach has left on his contract. Do I fit what they do? Because most kids don't know what they fit, because most kids don't understand how they play. And that's why I said basketball, when young men and women can start understanding their games and how it'll be great again. Because kids don't know their games. What they know is they know how to work their thumbs on them PlayStations.
Or they know how to go do all the crazy stuff that they skill trainer teaching them to do before they even know.
Come on, man. Come on.
They can do a left-hand layup, but they can do a Euro step and do all the extra
stuff. That's facts. That's facts.
Sure. Oh,
I'm in college. Do you know I had to teach some guys how to rip through, jump on their right foot and do a left-hand layup?
Yeah. It's mind-blowing how far skill development, they calling it skill development, but they teaching stuff to me that are instinctual plays based off of if you just know how to play or not. Like, yes. You do a Euro step, but you do a Euro step off of an instinctive play of how a defender is guarding you, not just a Euro step to be doing it every single.
Just to be doing it. Well, that's what they learn, and the trainers are not training these kids, the right way. Right. And I had the fortune. I worked out some kids. I used to do Sunday workouts years ago, and all the kids who I did my Sunday workouts with, even back then, most of them aren't in the league. Grant Williams, who played at Tennessee, who's now with the Boston Celtics, being in one of my workouts. Devon Dobson, that's with Kansas right now. Came, when he first moved to Charlotte, years ago. Because if you work on when they're young, it'll pay off when they get old.
Hey, and wrapping this thing up, Coach, as we always say, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.